Salutations, everyone. It's your boy Shad Talks Graps. I am back in the place to be. And we're here for Sunday Spotlight, man. It feels good to be home. Feels good to talk about everything in the world of pro wrestling. And we had a crazy week, man. A lot going on. I'm excited to talk about it. As you can see, the topics right next to me. But I can't do this without the gang. First and foremost, I haven't seen Bro in a while, man. It's good to see you good, brother. Dryzzy, how you doing, man?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in, your boy Drizzy, the wrestling plug. My bro, it is so good to see you again. I think I missed your homecoming last night, but it's all good. We here bright and early on a Sunday spotlight.
No doubt, man. And yeah, bro, I'm excited to do this show, man. We got the Tuesday crew back in full effect, but we can't do the Tuesday crew back in full effect without someone that I got the podcast with last night for the NXT review show. The homie out in the West Coast, Clark Taylor. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. It feels like I never left the microphone since last night, pretty much. Like it's only been a few hours, basically, but I'm up. I'm ready to go. I'm stoked. Let's get into it. Happy Sunday, everybody.
Nah, happy Sunday for sure, bro. We was watching a lot of wrestling last night, man. We watched NXT, then we watched the AEW Grand Slam, and we're gonna be talking about both of those today because I'm gonna open up the gates and I'm gonna talk about the topic that I want to spotlight, and that is someone who wrestled last night on NXT, our former North American Women's Champion, a Miss Fallon Henley. Man, her and Stephanie Vaquer, in my opinion, tore the house down last night. If you didn't hear me talk about it on the review show for NXT off the air, but I need to go more in detail about the woman herself. Fallon Henley was given an opportunity, a new character, a new faction, a new, tail of the coin, being a heel, and I honestly think she knocked it out the park. She is someone that is been given so many different roles in her time in NXT, and her finally getting an opportunity to be the second NXT North American Women's Champion. I thought she really applied pressure and did her thing. We talk about 8 title defenses going against the likes of a Shotzi Blackheart, a Kalani Jordan a couple times, right? Ren Sinclair. She always showed up to the occasion. She's done a great character work. Fatal Influence is a team that is kind of a bunch of misfits. She's kind of filling the void of a team that is similar to Toxic Attraction with Mandy Rose, who's not no longer with the company, obviously, but she's made it still seem like it's a viable team, and she's fit the mold of, not being Mandy Rose, but being herself and being her own heel persona. And the woman is a remarkable wrestler. Like, people forget, Fallon's a hooper. She can wrestle like in ring, bell to bell with the best of them. Like, she's just cut from that cloth, a overall perfect type of prospect. And obviously, I'm super excited for Stephanie Vaquer to be champion. I think all of us are. That was a great crowning moment. But we can't forget about the opportunity that came with it, beating who she did beat. I think sometimes we forget to appreciate who kind of held the title for a little bit. And I think in this case, we got to give our respect to a Miss Fallon Henley. We talk about her so much on our weekly shows, and I kind of got to go a little bit more in depth and give her props and love right there. So salute to Fallon Henley. That is who I want to spotlight. My off the air boys is in the house tonight too, man. I'm open the floor to you, Drizzy. What are your thoughts on the Fallon Henley North American title reign as we kind of, it's done now, but looking back at it?
I didn't hate it. It kind of feels like it ended prematurely, but as we say every week, and this is your PSA, you're gonna get it multiple times this week. This is the best division in wrestling, and in such a division so stacked, how long can you avoid the giant elephants in the room? You have all types of start, and even as of last night, the division gets even better. How do you navigate having people like Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Jordan Grace, Soruka, Zarya? It's just there's no way you can avoid all that. And if you're looking before these ladies entered the division, very well. There's a case that Fallon Henley should be fighting for the NXT Women's Championship and opposed to the North American one, but she was a great choice to take the belt off Kaylani. Most of my gripes with Fallon have never been about her in ring skill and her ability to carry a match or to do anything great in the ring. It's always been the whole trying not to make it seems like they go out of their way to make sure she's not Mandy Rose. Because honestly, when you look at Fatal Influence, you see Toxic Attraction all the way down from the JC Jane, who basically is that same character, all the way to the way they enter the ring, the way they do the three. It just gives really Fatal Attraction. It's hard to take that stigma off of them, and for her to sit in that main event spot and we don't want her to be Mandy Rose. We want her to be Fallon Henley, which she is capable of doing. I just wish that they would have spun her her title defenses just a little bit more. If we could finally like maybe just give like a Jada Parker uh do a couple more of the other up and comers in NXT before we start going to the heavyweights like
Right.
Stephanie and Julia and all them. But like I said, this division is so good. It's hard when everybody is a viable contender for the big belts too. So
So let me ask y'all a question, and I'll probably ask it to you on it, Clark, too. We talk about the mid card titles, and we talk about it on the main roster. In my humble opinion, I think the mid card title so far on the main roster has felt a little stale, just because there hasn't been a lot of competitors. We've run Chelsea Green and Mia Yim to the damn ground. How many times we have them going against each other
mm,
and kind of not giving us a reason why we're running it back? Like, it's just kind of been repetitive. And then on the other side on Raw, look, Lyra hasn't defended that IC title yet. She's won it, but then she's going against for another title. I do feel like there should be a little bit more competition in the well on the main roster. Now, I ask you this, Clark. You look at someone like Fallon Henley, but hell, you look at that faction. That's a good heel team. Maybe running her possibly on Raw against Delara. Would you be opposed to seeing a potential mid card feud on the main roster for our former mid card NXT Women's Champ?
I would have no problem with that. I mean, honestly, I would have no problem with bringing these three to the main roster. If you think about like Toxic Attraction all the way back with Mandy, they were kind of ready for the main roster too. Before obviously what happened. Fallon's reign was great. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't super long, but it wasn't super short either. And loss to Stephanie Vauquer is nothing to like, get worried about. But this is a good opportunity, I think, to bring all three up for a mid card title feud like that. You can play the numbers game against a baby face. Um, I would be all over that. Absolutely. Yeah, I think Fallon as a heel is that fur coat last night, man. Come on, it was so good. It was so good. It was ridiculous. Like, so yes, I would have no issue with that, and I agree with you. It's funny the mid card title picture when it comes to the women's division on NXT, it's pretty stacked because the division is stacked. So at some point, something's got to give, and we got to send some help up to the main roster to be able to sustain two mid card women's divisions on the main roster. I mean, that's just it's a big ask, right? Because the main roster already feels like, for some reason, compared to NXT, like the totality of the women's roster is actually split between two brands, whereas NXT feels like a full women's roster, if that makes any sense by comparison to the two. And so yeah, I do think at some point we're gonna have to see some more call-ups. I'm hoping we see quite a few here after Mania, right around the Raw after Mania, and then littered throughout the next months. Not even just Fallon Henley, a few more names. I
For
think
sure.
for sure.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday too. Like, you know what I think is maybe a bit of a misstep? I would have really had, just to top off her title reign, I would have had her versus Mickey James with the whole TNA stuff, and her
mhm.
get a win over Mickey James as a North American title reign, just to kind of be the cherry on top and make us be like, yo, yeah, she's really here. She's really special. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm excited for the title reign for Stephanie Vaquer. But definitely, we gotta show love for the previous champ, Fallon Henley. And
Mhm.
yeah, man. On to the next topic, man. It is the wonderful month of February, and it is Black History Month, man. And goodness gracious, bro. Pro wrestling has a rich history of black history in it. And I'm so glad that we are having this as a topic with the spotlight. I think we can spend an ample amount of the episode on this. And I want you, Drizzy, obviously, to kind of open it up. This is your spotlight topic. Black history in pro wrestling, man. Let's go.
So I've been trying to figure out the words to say all this in about maybe a 5 minute thing, and there's just not enough time to truly dig deep enough into everything because we only there's only so much known, and there's so much history that is just overlooked. I started watching wrestling in maybe 94, 95. And at that point in time, there were only five black faces on TV: Ice Train, the Harlem Heat, Miss Jackie, and we will put Farouk in there. Those five faces, I'll take six, and Ahmed Johnson. I will put those six faces are the ones that we knew of. You saw them every week between Nitro and and Raw. But the history that's actually recognized goes so much deeper. There are so many names that you have never heard of that I really feel that need to be talked about. Um, One of the biggest ones in '92, Ron Simmons is recognized as the official first African American world champion, and that's not 100% true. One of the first is actually Bobo Brazil. He is the first. Uh, he was the first NWA World Heavyweight Champion. I'm sorry, I got to look at this because there's just so much, and it's so hard to remember all of it. But Bobo Brazil actually beat Buddy Rogers for the belt, and but in a rematch for the belt, he ended up having to relinquish it, and it was just kind of erased from history. So that's where it kind of faded all the way. That's how you slide into stuff because history is erased. Because as far as everybody else knew, Ron Simmons was the first NWA champion, the first black NWA champion, but exactly Bobo Brazil. And then there's just so many other names that nobody knows of. The uh, Sailor Art Thomas, Big Cat, I messed his name about that. Because there's Big Cat and then there's Bearcat Wright.
Ernie
Um,
Ladd.
Dory
Is
Dixon, yes, Ernie Ladd, the Big Cat Ernie Ladd, and the Bearcat Wright, who famously is what they were trying to name Keith Lee after in his last days in WWE. Um, Earl Malin, uh, just Sonny King. As much of it seems as a joke he is nowadays, Tony Atlas is a historic black wrestler, like one of the first black tag team champions. Luther Lindsay, Ethel Johnson. Like there's just so many names. There's so and I implore you, do the research, take a look at these names. There's just so many. J- well, I'm just gonna go down a list of them. I said Ethel Johnson, Babs Wingo, Martha Scott. I said Luther Lindsay already. What else we got? We got Nick Glass, Sweet Daddy Siaki. Like these are names that I promise you've never heard, and I just need y'all to like do the research. Take a look. Thunderbolt Patterson, the Junkyard Dog was mainstream. Like now, this he was before my time, but he was one of the first ones on TV wrestling in big spots. Before being a part of Doom with Ron Simmons, Hacksaw Butch Reed, like, and of course I've already said Jackie Moore. Like just so many names, and even to the '90s when you get to Bob Sapp, who is more than just a famous fighter, but a huge name in pro wrestling history. One of the first, I would say the first black man to hold the IWGP title. I hate that title name because there's so many letters, but take some time, just read up on this history because there are so many names and it goes so much deep. Like these people walk so we could get people like Ron Simmons, so we could get people like Booker T's and all that to run so that Bianca, Naomi, the Street Profits, Swerve Strickland, so all of them could fly. Like so that's
Yeah, man.
that's me trying to put it into a small capsule, but truly you cannot put this into a capsule because it truly needs more than just the little 5 minute spot that I'm giving it. That's just me trying to be conscious of the time, but also trying to get you to pull in and just look and see all these other wrestlers. Like it's it's absolute after doing the research and seeing how far we've come and to see that now we have something where there are 500, maybe 600 plus black wrestlers in the industry today. It is just amazing to see that evolution and to see how far pro wrestling has come in for black wrestling. For black wrestlers have come in pro wrestling. Oof.
I love it, bro, and I love that you have a big emphasis on those who paved the way for the industry, man. Because like those are people like nowadays, as time keeps going on, generations upon generations will tend to forget, who
Yes.
kind of built the foundation, and without them, like you said, man, you wouldn't have the people that we look at legends now, like a Booker T, like you said, right?
Mhm.
Even people today who are living legends who are still going at it uh, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like Kofi Kingston.
Kofi
There's so many
Kingston, yeah.
guys who are just still in their prime years of their careers, but coming towards the end of their careers that look at a lot of these guys' influences. And then, for us, man, I take pride for our platform with Sunday Spotlight too, man. Obviously, we've got to interview some amazing, black talent before.
Mhm.
The Alex Kanes, the Jocelyn Navarro's, the Mr. Amazings,
Mhm.
there's so many the Kalia Sparks. Like there's a lot of super talented people that are making, their history as they step into the world of pro wrestling right now. So
Mhm.
it's a dope thing to see, man. Being someone who's a minority, being, from Bangladesh, man, I feel like, feeling having inclusion and, celebrating the people that you look up to is an important thing, man. So it's definitely a dope space for pro wrestling, and yeah, we gotta keep room for it, man. I remember you and me did the episode with on Take It to the Table, where we were talking about the initial part of Swerve's reign, and just
Yeah.
how like black champions have been uh not given as much of a fair shake with title
It's
reigns compared
almost
to their counterparts.
it was almost seemed like they don't see the money in having a black champion, even
Mm-hmm.
though our culture is what is, even at this very moment in time, is what is pushing mainstream wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
All the interest stuff, all the music you hear on wrestling nowadays, a lot of it's rap, a lot of it's hip hop. It's
Yo,
all
you
built on the back of that African American culture.
And think about it like that too. Like I look at WWE in that space right now too. And this is something I would even try to tell WWE. I would like to see them improve a little bit how they portray a lot of the wrestlers, but they do go into the well where they take a lot of the hip hop culture nowadays, right? Even
Mhm.
celebrities. Like I look at Monday Night Raw, they got a lot of pro athletes, ball players, boxers, UFC fighters,
Mhm.
rappers, right? They had freaking Quavo, Travis Scott, all these Lil Yachty, all of these dudes.
Yep.
They got I Show Speed, Kai Cenat, two young black men who are killing it on the streaming Twitch space, So
Mhm.
and I love to see that happen for like, giving people like a Carmelo Hayes or a Montez Ford, guys like this, Obafemi when he gets to the main roster, opportunities to let them potentially be world champion at some point, man. It's been a while. It's been a while since since what, Lashley or Big E may have been the last black man to be a world champion in WWE, if I am mistaken.
You're right.
I think it would be Big E, right? I
Biggie's
believe.
the
Big E.
last. No,
Or was
Bobby.
it?
I think Bobby
Uh,
had it held it once, but I feel like it was like a short amount of time. I
I
feel like
think
he was.
Biggie won it off of Bobby. I think was the last one when he cashed in on him.
There's somewhere along that line where there was a Biggie,
Yeah,
Bobby, Brock Lesnar thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because they had
but
that
it's
5-way
still.
match where Brock won it.
But the
Fucking Brock
fact,
Lesnar.
but think about how long ago that was, and out of
It's
the 50
been
plus,
almost it's been almost 5 years.
it's been
Yeah.
almost 5 years, and out of the 50 plus years of WWE wrestling, how many black champions, world champions have there been? And I'm not counting the women. They're
Nah,
so undeniable right now. You're stupid if you do not put the belt on them. All the way
mhm.
from down when Naomi had the glow title all the way to Bianca, Sasha, like they're
Mhm.
undeniable. If you're
Yo.
there's a problem if you don't see the money in them. But the black men, I don't understand what it is that they don't see that they're worth it.
Nah, it's true. And I look at like I one thing I will say, like and I think every wrestling company could be better at it, especially the main stage ones. But even with AEW, like when Swerve won it, you felt how monumental of a moment that was for him,
Mhm.
and whatnot. And then like we got like when it was the Hurt Syndicate versus Private Party, like that's dope, man. We got one black champions going against a team that eventually beats the next black champions. Like you should definitely you
What's
gotta push like I feel like it is more so like on the men's side. Like I do agree with you. I think the women's side, like look, I don't give a shit. No one says, bro. Mercedes Monet, like you said, is undeniable. There is a reason why all of those companies put titles on her. Not all of them belts she got on is an AEW belt.
yeah,
These are different companies in Japan, in
yeah.
the UK that want her to have a belt because they know that she's that big of a fucking star.
And
So
even talking about those companies, that just shows even more how more revolutionary this history is because it's now led to black owned actual companies. Battle
pardon my
Club
French though.
Pro, Bladder Club Pro is co-owned by a black Afro Latina woman. Uh, Fight Club Pro in
Mm-hmm.
DC, black
NBC,
owned.
baby.
Ashe Wrestling, black owned. Black Wrestlers Matter. That is a black owned company. Naptown Pro, a black owned wrestling company, and they're providing outlets for more black wrestlers. It's just a pipeline, and just watching it start from the Ethel Johnsons, the Bearcat Rights, the Bobo Brazils, all the way down
Mhm.
to the point where we're getting Alexis Littlefoot, you're getting Jocelyn Navarro, Isaiah Bronner's, Darius Carter's, Darius Lockhart's, and I can just go throughout the list of how many
So many
people
people.
there are that have just our history is rich, and I really hope that people do the research to find out and know more. And if you want to know more, there are people out here that are willing to teach you. Well, for those who truly want the knowledge to actually have it, cherish it, and pass it down, it can be given. There are people who every year about this time that are always posting Black History facts, just trading stories
Mhm.
so you know these things and that these things don't get swept far away so they become forgotten things of the past. They become more myths than actual stories.
Even
And I never
even
want to see Black history as a whole become a myth. That I heard this is what happened. To no, this is what happened. These are the facts to support it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't look, man. I know, and I don't want this to be a political podcast, but I know
Mm,
counterparts in the new regime want to take away history that is Black history in general. But like history is history. It's set in stone for the rest of eternity. You can't take that away. You may not want to show it, but there's ways for people to look at it and find it out. And man, so what's your point, man? Like even like the homie Victor Perry who runs the wrestling club, man. Like I love that he has his kids over there making,
yes, I
wrestlers a
absolutely.
day for Black History Month.
I adore so much what that man is doing because he is doing exactly what I'm talking about. He is making sure that these stories are told constantly. Like, yes, the like Kofi and all them are history for them, but eventually they're gonna want to go deeper into it. And Victor Perry
Mhm.
is the one giving them a safe place to learn that and to see all that. And I love
Mhm.
the fact that he does that. Ooh,
It's dope, man. I love it, man, and I'm excited to just we it ain't just February, man. You gotta enjoy it all
All
throughout the
year
entire
long.
calendar
Black
year, man.
Black History is every day.
Yeah, man. It's dope to see, bro. But
Mm.
hey, salute to you on that topic, man. I love it. I'm glad that we got to cover it, especially it being
No doubt.
February.
Mm.
It's special stuff, man.
Mm.
Um, let's get to the next topic at hand. Cause speaking of history, someone is timeless. Uh, and I must say, I think this, in my humble opinion, before you spotlighted Clark, this could be up there with one of the greatest AEW feuds of all time. If this was the swan song moment of the final match last night in Australia, Toni Storm and Mariah May. My God, man, these two women knocked it out the damn park. And Clark, I know you are a big time Toni Storm fan. So go ahead, break it down for us.
I'm a fan of both, man, and it's funny because I've separately spotlighted both Tony Storm and Mariah May on this show. Now I'm going to spotlight them together because this rivalry was off the charts. I think it is the best women's rivalry in AEW history by far. These two were absolutely built to wrestle each other. They're built characters wise to be opposite each other because they have so many similarities, and at the same time, so much range character wise. Both have incredible range. We saw what Toni did playing this sort of delusional former version of herself, and then even playing Mariah May last night in her home country of Australia. That crowd was absolutely scorching. Mariah May did all the work necessary to make sure that that crowd was 100% behind Toni Storm. And you don't often see that these days in professional wrestling. I understand there was a hometown advantage thing there too, but I think almost any crowd, it would have been the same. You had a perfect baby face against a perfect heel. The match delivered. Tony's the new champ again. But yeah, I had to put the spotlight on both of them. I do think for right now, this is something that is sort of the last one. It's the end of the rivalry, but this is something you can always pick back up in the future because these two have awesome in-ring chemistry, awesome chemistry on the microphone, and I can't get enough of the rivalry. It was really, really, really fun last night watching that match.
It's important for us to preface this. The joke is always that AEW doesn't tell stories. AEW doesn't make characters.
Yep.
AEW is only where they wrestle. And if you think that and you look at this feud and you still say that, you are a damn fool, in my opinion. Tony Storm is the biggest, like, 180 character flip from one company to another that I've seen in quite a while, especially for women's wrestling. Like, the fact that, I thought she was always been a good talent, obviously, in her time in Stardom, NXT UK, NXT main roster. She ain't really do much because she was kind of checked out for what they were giving her. But man, even from the beginning of her and AEW just being part of the Outcast, like, you didn't see it. But once they kind of let that story with the Timeless one click, it clicked. And now it's become such a crazy character that you can build so much off of. And she's really one of the women that is carrying the company on her back, in the division on her back, in a sense too. And then Mariah May, man, I love Mariah May. She's one of my
Yeah.
favorite heels in pro wrestling. She's devious. She's so conceited and cocky. She's malicious. Like, all those stuff that I love in a heel, she covers all bases.
Yeah.
And she's had such a a solid title reign, but you can't have Tony Storm without Mariah May. Like, and you can't have Mariah May without Tony Storm. These women are conjunct to the hip, but
Yeah.
it's still a great thing, man. Like,
It
Drizzy,
is.
what are your thoughts on it?
One of the y'all want to say maybe it is. It's definitely it's gonna be told during AEW's Bark period that this is the one of the storylines along with Hangman Swerve that helped turn the narrative on AEW. They have created a new star in Mariah May because yes, as she is famous to us in the indie community, she's now a mainstream name. She has also, I feel like, the creativity aspect of it is what makes it stand out so much because they were able to create a moment that's unheard with women. You never hear women bleeding like that.
Yeah.
You never see stuff like that. And creating the visual of her standing at the top of the ramp with Tony's bloody head in her hand, that's monumental. And it also, I feel like it makes the other women in the back be like, damn, they got to do that. Let's see what they'll let me do. And this the purpose of having great storytelling like that. And Tony and Mariah are just so creative together. And like you guys said, they're always going to be able to pick this back up, but it's going to have to escalate every time. And
Yeah.
I have the immense amount of faith that you can put them in any situation and they will make it look amazing.
Sure.
They are the perfect combination of wrestling and cinema.
Yeah. I mean, it goes with
Yeah.
the character. Like, yeah, it is
Mm.
cinema because there's so many. Initially, there's a lot tied to it from films, from the 50s, 60s, or whatever it may be. But like now they've progressed it so much. Now it feels like an actual like wrestling, like a wrestling feud. Now, like
Mhm.
they've made it become like a wrestling feud, and Tony playing herself to get one up on her to play mind tricks. And hey, man, having a moment winning in her home country too.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's also something so special. She main evented that show last night. Like,
Mhm.
that was her show. They made that show for her. She's the only Australian talent that won a title last night.
Yeah.
Not
Mhm.
Harley Cameron, not Buddy Matthews. It was Tony Storm.
Yeah.
It,
So, go ahead.
it was outstanding. And especially like in her home country of Australia, like that crowd was so behind Tony Storm. That to me is what made the match. That was the whole thing, right? Like, and if you remember correctly, like Mariah May kind of got her moment as well in her home country
Mhm.
too. So it is cool you had like the home and home aspect of this particular rivalry. I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is a good point too. That I like that. That is kind of the thing. One got her moment in obviously in the UK, and then she got hers in Australia. So,
Right.
hey man, it's big time over there, and I'm excited to see what we go with next. The AEW women's division is like a sneaky good division. Like there's a lot of good wrestlers on there. Obviously, it goes with we need to see a little bit more time for them, but like the
Yeah.
talent is there, and when you give them the like once they're displayed, we're drawn in, man. You got Harley Cameron, you got Mercedes, you got Statlander, you got Megan Bain, like
I
you
kind of
got
hard. I think it's hard to say that it's a sneaky good division. It's more so. I think the writing and it's the behind the scenes that always got the talent has always been there.
true.
It's just the everything else around it. Like we've seen TNA do more with less, and
Yeah.
we for years, like right now they're in the low period, but their knockouts division is always it's always at the drop of a dime will blow up because they know how to market them as main eventers. And I think Tony Khan and that backstage is finally understanding this is how we market our main eventers. The Tony Storm, Mariah May. I'm gonna put Harley Cameron in it because she has
Yeah.
been an absolute social media beast these last few weeks.
Well, look,
And
let's hold that thought because it is highlights of the week, and
yeah,
I want you to tell your highlight of the week.
you know
Then,
what?
since
And that is the perfect segue because that is my highlight of the week. Is the social media monster that is Harley Cameron. This woman is a ventriloquist, a singer, a rapper, a artist of every. She's a what can't she do? Like really, what can this woman not do? And over the past few weeks, her content on AEW social media has been some of the most viral stuff I've ever seen. She put out a whole rap disc with a puppet and and we're not talking like doing this. She's doing it mouth closed, throwing her voice like that is something that you truly have to master. And she's mastered so much stuff. She plays instruments. Like she is. She learns. She knows Chinese. Like how do you? It is hard to fathom a woman. The only other person I know that talented may be Cesaro, but how do you sit there and take all these things and make it into a pro wrestling promo and sit there and grab people? You are pulling everybody in doing all these different talents. Not W, AEW truly has lightning in a bottle. And clearly we saw last night she did not win her belt, but being in the ring and if he's for these last few, and also having these interactions with Mercedes Monet has proven she not only has what it takes to be a wrestler, she has what it takes to be one of AEW's major mainstream stars that can take this company to the next level, to be closer to being in the same stratosphere as the WWE. Um, the talent is absolutely amazing. She's channeling it all in the right places, and it is. I love seeing evolution of characters like this. She is going to be a major star. Do not be surprised if WWE comes knocking at her door. But I really hope she stays in AEW because the AEW is more of like a creative school. The creative people go to AEW to be artistic. They get to put their work out. They get to sit there and show what they really love and everything. And you see that Harley loves what she's doing right now with all the amazing stuff she's doing. And to top it off, the acting. So her promo that she dropped just before Slam started off with a rap diss and went into a sincere, deep, intense promo. I love those. I love those. You can look in the camera, you can convey the emotion. You can sit there and say one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, and put so much emphasis behind them. And she does that with everything she does. She puts emphasis, she sits there and changes how you feel about everything. And I just, Harley, thank you.
I love it, man. I think me and Clark, we was on a Dynamite review episode after that, and we shared pretty much the same
Yeah.
exact what you said, man. So salute to Harley Cameron, man. I'm excited to see what the future happens for her in AEW. Clark, I must ask you, man. It has been quite a week of pro wrestling. What has taken your highlight of the week on some
It
sports?
has been quite a week. My highlight of the week this week, though, I'm going with the triple threat king, Obafemi. I mean, the guy absolutely, I believe it was Waller. He just flung through the air, through the announce table last night. Another great three-way match. The dynamic between him and Waller in theory was awesome. A really great title defense. This title reign is awesome. Can't wait to see where he goes from here. I mean, that table spot was electric. I love that. Just absolutely no chance that table survived that spot. Not a chance. No, like, oh, he hits the announce table and it doesn't break. That thing broke into like 6 pieces. And I love that kind of stuff. I'm anxious to see where they go next with Oba. I mean, they're running out of people. If they keep doing triple threats, he's gonna run through every guy on the roster. I think that's why they had to bring down Theory and Waller. They ran out of counterparts here.
So we're out of guys. We're out of guys, y'all. We're out of bodies.
100%. But I don't know who can beat that guy one-on-one. Maybe Trick Williams down the road, but not anytime soon, I don't think.
Shoot.
And we'll see about it. But that's my highlight of the week.
It's funny you said beat them 1-on-1. They can't beat them 2-on-1.
I know.
Oh my gosh. That's funny, man.
It might take 4. It might
take 4. Yeah. It's gonna have to be like an elimination chamber situation.
It might. Oh man, I'm gonna come with my highlight of the week now, man. And I'm gonna just keep it all of us on here because it's something that is a little bit more of a kind of a sad thing, but now it's coming more positive of a thing. and it was an Instagram post of the homie Chris Bay this week, taking the big steps of recovery, seeing him
Yes.
alive and breathing. Such a emotional IG post, well written. All that he's had to go through with recovery, spending an extensive time in the hospital, man, going through trying to learn how to walk again and all that type of stuff, man.
Unbelievable.
And he is a damn superhero to the wrestling community, man.
Yes.
And I'm just happy to see that he's in good spirits, man. I'm so happy to see the wrestling community come as a whole in support with him from fans to TNA to WWE to AEW to independents to Japan, everyone coming out there and pouring out a lot of love for him, man. Even seeing someone like Big E, who had a similar, traumatic injury in a way, giving a lot of love to him and stuff like that. So, just seeing that post this week made me really happy. So, highlight of the week. And I think that's for all of us. That's all of our highlight of the week.
It really is. It really is. It brought so much joy to my heart. I've been sick the last few days, but it really put the biggest smile on my face to see that man taking steps. Chris Bay is somebody who I love to see wrestle. I go see him live every time he comes to Louisville, no matter what I'm doing. I stop what I'm doing to go see him, and I think the love and the output of love that everybody is giving him shows how trivial the goofiness of the IWC is about this who's better, WWE, AEW, TNA. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, only thing that really matters is these wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing people from all companies, like every single company, all the way from the biggest stars like John Cena and CM Punk, talking and sending love to this man, all the way down to the younger guys. It's all trivial. It's all trivial.
Punk saying it on WWE TV, man,
Unbelievable.
dedicating a win to him. Like, that's some type of stuff that shows you that the guy is, man, this wrestling community is a wrestling community, man. All these people love and respect each other, man. As much of a competition it may be, it's still, competition is just friendly competition at the end of the day. It's not no real warfare.
Yes.
It ain't like how it used to be. Even back then, it wasn't as bad as they made it seem to be.
Yeah.
It's really not. Like, even I've heard the stories from like Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels. It was like, yeah, we were watching Raw. We were rooting for those guys. Like when DX came to WCW, they were on the other side, like, let him in. I want to see my buddies. Like, you see countless photos of like Adam Cole and Kevin Owens sitting in hotel rooms together. Like, these guys all love each other, and there's a certain level of respect for all of them. We see all the time. Natalia has everybody coming through their school.
Oh my god, dude! I love watching her IG clips at the dungeon, because you'll be like, damn, I wish I could see that match happen. You see, like, I remember I saw one. It was like Angelo Dawkins and Moose tearing it up, right? You get like so many different people. You get like so many people that come from once they take their little excursions to the U.S. from like Japan or Mexico and stuff like that. They tap in with her and TJ, and they just, they have fun, go crazy, man. And you gotta sharpen your sword that way, man. You train with some of the best in the world, and not all the best people are on the same company as you. So some of them aren't even signed.
And I think the beautiful thing about that is just that they want wrestling to flourish. So yes, you're in a whole different. You're in MLW and TNA. You know what? Come over here. We'll make sure you're great. Liv Morgan, you want to go wrestle in Japan? You know what? We got you. Come on, let's teach. Like, I just love that. It's like a frat, a sorority that we're not in all the way, but we see it, and they all take care of each other.
For sure.
And I love that.
Definitely agree, man. But yeah, so keep Chris Bay in your thoughts. Support him as y'all can as he goes through this journey and recovery.
I believe 10. If you want to support him monetarily, TNA does have
Mhm.
like shirts
Yeah.
they're
The We
selling.
Love
All
A
proceeds,
shirts.
all proceeds go to them. I believe there's a GoFundMe. I don't know.
Then there's a
If,
GoFundMe too. Yeah,
yeah, so if we find it, I'll post it on my Twitter or anything. But just support that man.
For sure.
no doubt, no doubt. Man, this was a great episode. That is all the time that we have today. Clark Drizzy, always a pleasure, man. And we'll catch y'all next week, man. In the words of our WrestleMania main eventer, hopefully, Jay Uso, deuces, ooses. We out.